¿Cómo están? I'm Camila and I'm your host today. You may have heard of BELatina and our goal to tell the stories that matter. Its special mission has led people like me who are bicultural to be represented and valued. BELatina knows that the Latino community is well-rounded, knowledgeable, and the one that holds plenty of power. I come from a Colombian background and live in South Florida. I understand the importance of feeling represented and receiving genuine influences. This has led me to work in spaces like BELatina, where Latinas are amplified, which promote the significance of nuestra comunidad. And talking about comunidad, today I'm talking about how much BELatina contributes to our community and its diverse audience. So sit tight as we embark on a short trip where I'll take you through the creation of BELatina. We will begin in the year 2013. Back then, Latina Magazine, People en Español, TV y novelas were platforms that Latinas were consuming. What an amazing time it was for the publishing industry. Latina Magazine in particular penetrated the market as it spoke to English-dominant Latinas, which were reigning in the space of U.S. Hispanic demographic. They were connected to their roots, but also their new American way of life. There was nowhere else to get content that spoke to their heritage in English. They were truly pioneers. When you look at the overall growth of Latinos in the U.S., it's no wonder there was an untapped market and yearning for more content. Here are some general Hispanic stats. 65 through 70% of all Hispanics and Latinos are U.S. born. 14% are naturalized. They have $2 trillion in purchasing power. 75% of U.S. born Hispanics are under 35 years old, the fastest growing demographic in the U.S. There are 30 million Latinas in the U.S. and 62 million and counting. Did you know that Hispanics are twice as likely as non-Hispanics to purchase the content they share? Latinas have always been the decision makers, from abuela choosing the dinner menu to mommy being in charge of how the house is run while working at least one job. The power of Latinas have always been a constant. However, 2014 marked a special moment for Latinas as the narrative shifted to seeing Latinas become more unapologetic than ever. This was a moment where Latinas wanted more content to consume and by storytellers who looked like them. Our founder, Lisa Cavalli, saw a need in publishing space and launched BELatina, a small Latinx brand that had big ideas and modeled after the general market brand Pop Sugar. Lisa saw their success and wanted to create a lifestyle platform for the first and second generation Latinas. These Latinas who saw themselves as 100% Latinas and 100% Americans. The platform would open itself up to Latina content creators, writers, and influencers, especially since BELatina was created when influencers took off. BELatina became a space where more stories about culture, art, music, traditions, and education lived. To this day, BELatina is still around. In fact, it was mentioned on the HispanicAd.com as part of the evolution of Hispanic marketing in 2020. Not sure if you know much about her founder, but she's a serial entrepreneur. And after 4 years of success, she decided to move on, which led to the creation of BELatina News. Latina stories and voices are diverse in so many ways, and there's too much to encapsulate in one place. This was the core of the creation of BELatina. We provide empowering content across multiple themes and channels in English that are true to our culture. And just as important, we connect our multi-generational readers with brands in a meaningful, culturally relevant way, understanding the importance of inclusion, diversity, and equity for our audience. Its journalistic focus, which has an emphasis on education, is a defining factor for BELatina. This positions the quality of trust and accuracy for BELatina and its audience. So who exactly is our audience? First, it's bilingual and bicultural. Our audience considers herself to be 100% Latina and 100% American. She is college educated and ambitious. Oh, and she's definitely influential. Think of her as a guide for her foreign-born family friends as they navigate life in the U.S. Our BELatina audience is also a savvy and persuasive decision-maker in her multi-generational household. She balances her collectivist roots with her independent ethos, recognizing her power as a modern-day Latina. Keep in mind that her purchasing behaviors are informed by her cultural pride and respect for diversity. 90% of our audience is composed of women whose household income is $85,000 and above. They are college graduates and range from different ages. 18% are between the ages of 18 and 24, 43% ranges from 25 and 34, and 25% are within the ages of 35 and 54. And to put it into more perspective, we've illustrated who engages with BELatina. First, we have Sofia. She is a college graduate who is bold, fresh, and connected. Her and her friends are around the ages of 18 and 24. She's connected with upcoming trends, has a fresh outlook on new technology and generational advancements, and is a bold thought leader who prioritizes social impact. Then we have Gloria, who is a civic-minded, progressive, and involved. She's usually between the ages of 25 and 34. Gloria's make up for 43% of the BELatina audience. She's a college graduate with a bachelor's or master's degree. You can identify her as an ambicultural mom who feels strongly about the guarding of Latino culture. She is often concerned about the future, causing her actions to be led by progressive influences by empowering generations across the board. Medium, on the other hand, is our tactical, analytical, knowledgeable, and loyalist amiga. She's between the ages of 35 and 54, making up 25% of our audience. She has a degree from a bachelor's to a PhD, and Medium doesn't play. Many mediums are homeowners, and they sure do love to scroll through social media. As we witnessed the emergence of the unapologetic community, we saw more and more Latinas and Afro-Latinas lean into higher education and mentoring roles where women empower women. BELatina's team is a testament of this. I make part of a tight-knit team that is composed of a strong editorial team who is immigrant-heavy, Latina, and LGBTQ+. Our editorial team is headed by our Colombian-American Senior Deputy Editor, Giselle Gomez, and our Senior Editor, Yamil Habib, who is Venezuelan-Syrian. This, along with the many diverse voices on our team, BELatina's editorial content strives to touch on conversations that matter. Our focus is inclusivity with audience intimacy because that's where it's at. The intimacy is obtained through how relatable our content is. We work tirelessly to tell the stories the Latino community wants to hear. From that comes the amazing selection of stories at BELatina.com. Let me show you. Our editorial franchises and verticals include everything from art, financial education, food, and all the way to health. At BELatina, we want to give our audience access to the best tools. This is why we highlight our other Latinas making jefa moves, so the community can be elevated together. I love the food and spirits vertical at BELatina because it gives me so much information. For example, I learned about the beautiful history of Rombauer wines from Napa, California, and the article even came with tips on how to pair their wines thanks to Chef James Tahan. You might not know this, but I'm a whiskey girl, so I love learning how another Latina is making sure she's equipping other Latinas and women on how to drink the best whiskey. The Latina I'm talking about is Bianca Espinosa, educator and co-founder of Scotch Society 305, and I could not stop reading everything she had to say. It was different and enjoyable, just like whiskey, which, by the way, I like mine neat, if you're wondering. Trying to save money or even know what to do with your personal finances is something Latinas are always concerned about, including me, which is why I love to go through BELatina's finance vertical as much as possible. For instance, the writers wrote about Pari Juarez, who works in diverse segments in commercial banking, and she provided some very important tips on financial education. So this was right up my alley, and I know so many others too. We have followed Selena Gomez's trajectory from early Nickelodeon days to singer. Now we celebrate the nomination of Selena Gomez as an executive producer for the Emmy Awards. Gomez was recognized for her work on the popular Hulu series Only Murders in the Building, in which she also stars alongside Steve Martin and Martin Short. Through our entertainment vertical, we are always in the know about the artists and entertainers in our Latino community, just like Selena Gomez. As for our health vertical, BELatina News has published many stories, but we are not only informing our readers about health advancements, we also equip them on how to join the health industry. Our writers even spoke to Real Latina first-gen medical doctor who provided tips for the future generation on how to pursue a medical career. And let's be honest, raw information from people who look like us wasn't accessible before. We also featured doctors such as Dr. Bogdan, who can focus on women's health, diabetes, and the ancestral relevance in our bodies. She is another Latina making a difference in healthcare, and we love to see it. Let's not forget about beauty. After all, this is very important to Latinas. Here, these fantastic beauty entrepreneurs have transformed their passions into businesses that also support our communities. It's beautiful to see how they inspire their products in our Latino culture. BELatina talks about them and so many more. Now, let's take a look at our arts and tech vertical. BELatina dives in deep in this section because it knows its importance. See, there's so much talk about NFTs, but not enough in the Latino space. But we are here changing that. In fact, we recently spoke to Latina behind That Collection, a community helping others through NFTs. It's insane just how many resources there are nowadays. And the more we talk about it, the more our community can tap into these resources. Since storytelling is at our foundation, we are always striving to learn stories, what makes our community tick, and uncover what so many in our comunidad are doing. This is why we have a few ongoing series on Instagram. Through Instagram Live, we've developed 3 different programs: Las Guerreras, Be Real with Benjamin, and Be Motivated. For Be Real with Benjamin, every week, Perez, the advisor, or Benjamin Perez, interviews different people from the Latino community that share their unique experiences in a world that often challenges them from the get-go. He interviews everyone from authors to scholars to business owners. And last but not least, Be Motivated. Be Motivated is a space where Gigi Rivera gets everyone's week started on a positive note. She features jefas, entrepreneurs, and anyone that can give motivational tips while encouraging our audience not to give up on their dreams. Our stories are told in different ways for a reason. We want to highlight the impact of Latinas and Latinos as much as possible. And we've built a strong community thanks to these stories. Now, our community lends itself to ensure BELatina continues to thrive as they understand that spaces like these are limited, and they are vital to the growth of this generation and future generations. Latina with Masters, Latina business coach Paulette Piñero, Crediverso, and more have contributed with BELatina's mission. After all, this is a space for everyone. BELatina has grown so much. In 2021, it even started its own lifestyle show, BELatina TV, which airs on Lifetime, FYI, and History Español, thanks to Brandstar Studios. BELatina TV is hosted by former Real Housewife of Miami star Karen Sierra and the 3-time Emmy Award-winning chef, Chef James. Both hosts go on adventures while educating the audience on fashion, food, fun activities, and more. As you can see, BELatina has captured the essence of the Latino community, from using storytelling tactics to illustrate all the wonders of the community to the birth of BELatina TV. BELatina has also had some great times with past partners, which allowed us to give our audience, myself included, some of the representation we've been yearning for. BELatina is a partner that can help brands really understand Latinas on a level that resonates and can transcend brand loyalty. My name is Camila, and it's been a pleasure showing you around BELatina today. Be bold, be real, be yourself, and be Latina. Talk to you soon.